Performance improvement plans help managers and employees identify goals, develop strategies for meeting those goals, and to track progress. But is that really what they're for? Hi everybody, it's Samantha and Nikema, and we're back with another episode that you don't want to miss on the Deeper Than Tech podcast, where we talk about how to grow your career in an industry that was not designed with us in mind. But before we dive deep into this topic, because we surely are going to in this episode, we would love to know if you're loving the podcast so far and to share it with a friend or a coworker.
Managing my schedule, managing my brain. Like, one of the problems was I would say, I can get this thing done, and I wouldn't get it done in time. And I ended up going on a performance improvement plan. And shortly after that, I left because I was already burned out. And I kind of thought the PIP, like that's what some people call it, means, it's just a matter of time before you're let go. And afterward, I talked to people because people don't talk about those, and I guess they happen all the time. But they were like another Black developer advocate that I know. He said, I have never survived a PIP. Like, even if I do everything that they ask me to do, they still let me go. So I was like, okay, I made the right decision because I just left. I was already preparing to leave a long time before because I was not happy.
I'm glad that you're so open about sharing your experience. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that because I have never heard of somebody being on PIP. I know PIP is a term people use and people go on PIP. I've never heard somebody. So if it's okay with you, I would love to dig in a little bit deeper. And it's probably like a downtime in your life.
Yeah, I like talking about it though.
Okay. Well, do you want to just like go through it and then tell people the process?
Yeah. So in my case, it was kind of like my manager, we had one-on-ones every week. And she kept saying, I really want you to get, on top of things, because if you don't, I'm going to have to do something more formal, and other people will be involved. Like, we kept having this conversation and I kept missing deadlines and things like that. So she was like, well, we have gotten to that point where we need to do a performance improvement plan. And she says, I know you can do the work. Like, when your work is done, it's excellent, but we have to, meet a certain standard or whatever. So the way that it worked was we had a one-on-one. She talked about, we're going to do this. So they gave me a document to read and sign. And I think basically you would have to sign that document and agree to it, or you're just being let go. I don't know if that's the case or not. I can't really remember. But yeah, so it was basically agree to these terms and sign it, which is like you will create a schedule and make sure that all of your work is completed, by the date that supposed to be completed, things like that. And somewhere in that document, it says, this is at will employment, and you or the company can decide to end this employment at any time. So I was already burned out. I did sign the document, and I think I just felt bad about it. I was like, I just need to go. And I don't think it was the same day. It might have been within a few days or a week, but I gave 0 days notice and I quit. So 0 days, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I sent a message, I think, to my manager, and they started the process of getting me out. So, closing my accounts, and I had a health savings account, not health savings. What's the other one? I had an account
flexible
that I had.
Account, maybe?
Yeah, flexible spending. It was that one. I had a flexible spending account. So I had to use it by the end of the day or it was going to be gone. We arranged for me to send back the computer, and that all happened in one business day. By the end of the day, my Slack access was gone and my email was gone. So I am just going to say I'm a proponent for 0 days notice. I mean, maybe that's not kind if you're working on something. I don't know. I was just done. If they could just fire me anyway, and I'm going to have to work so much harder to meet these standards, I just don't want to go through that. Now I totally think if I ever get put on a PIP, I'm leaving. Also, another tip for people, because I didn't know, and it may be possible to negotiate severance, because I had a friend that I didn't know was going through the same thing I was going through. And they said, hey, you can go on the PIP or leave now. We'll give you severance. So I'm like, I should have asked for that. I didn't even know that was something companies did. So it's worth asking if they don't offer it, because all they can ever say is no. And you're already kind of like in a not great situation. So why not ask? If it ever comes to that again, I will say, can I leave a severance instead of doing this? Like, we would be surprised by, how many people we know that go through things like that, because it's not really talked about. Like, I didn't hear it talked about until I brought it up. Like, I brought it up in Twitter Spaces. So I was surprised that, people who are then like way more accomplished than me that had experience with that. So
yeah, and I'm also glad that you had somebody to talk to, I guess, about this experience, because sometimes we go through these things just by ourselves and we don't really have anybody to talk to about. How was your manager? Was your manager more on your side, or was it like the manager was kind of ready to let you go?
I think she was sorry to let me go. I think she was rooting for me. I think that she was like, you really got to get it together because you can do great things here. But I don't blame her, and I don't think that it was malicious at all. I think it was just like, everybody has an answer to someone. So if people are asking her like, hey, what's going on with Nikema, then, I don't fault her for that.
But yeah, thank you so much for talking about that. And thank you all for listening to the Deeper Than Tech podcast. Till next time. Bye.